So this is a Leatherman Curl. It came out in 2021. It has been out around 5 years. And apparently Leatherman has decided that this is no longer worthy to be sold on its website. The last time I looked at Leatherman, you could not find the Leatherman Curl anywhere. Now, is it totally discontinued? Well, it doesn't seem like it, because just like the Leatherman P2 that has been available on Amazon, this is also available, it seems like, pretty much exclusively on Amazon. You can still buy it. It's just not perhaps any longer made at Leatherman. Now, I don't think this will be the end for the Leatherman Curl, and that's what this video is about. So make sure not to go anywhere. Let's do a quick overview of the Leatherman Curl. Now, the Leatherman Curl was a it was a lighter weight version of the Wave. So you don't have those replaceable wire cutters. The pliers potentially are a lot stronger, a lot tougher, hardier. You had the knife. The opposite was the file, diamond file, regular file, the pocket clip on the outside. Now, on the handles, roller markings on the outside, scissors, all large screw driver on this side. On the opposing side, the Leatherman bit driver, the bottle opener, and the wire stripper. Now, a lot of people did love this tool set because it is a little bit lighter than the Leatherman Wave. So while the Leatherman Wave is around 8.6 ounces, this comes in about an ounce lighter, about 7 or so ounces. And it was, just a more lightweight version of the Wave. One of the big things that set the Curl apart was there were no locks. That was very different in that a lot of people thought, well, it's fine if there's no locks, but then why is there locks on the knife and the file? If you wanted this to be a tool for overseas, why would you have locks on the outside? I'm not really sure the answer to that question. It does seem a little different. All I'm guessing is that they were trying to save cost and make it easier to produce. Now, this isn't a whole lot cheaper than some of the other multi-tools from Leatherman, but it is a cheaper Wave, in that the Leatherman Wave is now up to $130, and this is around $90, about $40 cheaper. So those no locks, and then saving those extra tools on the outside, you do save around $40 by buying this. And for some people, the tools on this might be plenty. They might be just right, just enough. This is a used one that I got off of eBay. I didn't pay to have all this stuff engraved, but I just never have been that much of a fan of the Leatherman Curl. For a little bit, I thought this might be the answer. This might be the perfect tool. And then I realized it just doesn't have, it either has too much or too little. I would either prefer something like the Skeletal or something like the Wave. And it fits in that odd in-between spot that I never can really latch onto. But for some people, this has been the perfect tool. So the sad news is that it does seem like Leatherman is killing another of its multi-tools, but I don't think it's the end for the Leatherman Curl. I think it will get the same treatment as what happened with the Charge and the Alpha. Now, Leatherman is migrating to a brand new business strategy, and we've seen that with the Alpha, where they have taken the Charge, they have done some very minor tweaks, added a tool or two that is different, and called it a brand new tool. So while, yes, the frame is a little bit different, it seems maybe a little bit narrower, and unfortunately they've taken away the roller, which I don't like that at all. It looks cosmetically a little different. A lot of the tools remain the same. As I mentioned, it does seem like the frame has changed a bit, but now they can justify this high price of the Leatherman Wave Alpha because now it has Magnica, it's a brand new tool, and I think they're hoping that people will pay these very high prices because who doesn't want this brand new tool from Leatherman? And I think that's exactly what we'll see with the Leatherman Curl. Leatherman is essentially adopting the marketing of overseas brands. That's what they have been doing for the past several years. These are both HX Outdoor brands. We talked about this. This is a brand new tool HX Outdoors came out with. Supposedly it has MagnaCut, though I sort of doubt it does for $70. but pretty much it's the same tool, just with some G10 on the outside and then supposedly a MagnaCut blade. This is around $30 to $40. This is around $70. So now they have added a little bit to this tool and they can charge twice as much. And we see something similar from Decoyu, where they will take an existing tool and then they will add some things and make it a lot better. They actually do add, I think, a lot better blade steel to theirs. And then the price will not just triple or quadruple, but yeah, it goes from like $40 to $130. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but that's basically what they're doing. And what does that do? Well, I think what a lot of it does is you don't have to come up with brand new parts, a brand new total tool, and there's not as much time and money spent on research. So with the Leatherman Arc, for instance, the Leatherman Arc, can you imagine all the time and effort it went into figuring this whole new system? I mean, it was a reimagining a multi-tool, and I would imagine that that was extremely expensive. And as some people have pointed out, Leatherman is going through a rough patch to some extent because they heavily invested in pocket knives. And if you look on their website, basically they have chopped their pocket knife line to maybe 1 or 2 pocket knives, and pretty much everything else is like discontinued. Now, if you look at the pictures, there's pictures online where they have added a ton of machinery, and now essentially they just shut it down because that experiment did not seem to work very well. So now I think the Curl will be the Epsilon. It has taken me a long time to figure that out. If you remember, before the Alpha came into existence, Leatherman had 2 trademarks. They had 2 brand new names. They applied for 2 different patents. The one was the Alpha and the one was the Epsilon. Now, about a year ago on Leatherman Reddit, I ran across where someone had found on Justia where Leatherman had filed copyrights for their Leatherman Wave and Epsilon. At the time, I was really excited, and I was trying to figure out what would the Alpha be like. Well, we have the Alpha now, so let's read what Leatherman described it. They described it as a folding multi-purpose hand tool comprised primarily of a blade and 1 or more of the following hand tools, namely needle nose pliers, regular pliers, wire cutters, hand wire cutters, all with eyelet, wire stripper, lanyard ring, saw, scissors, screwdriver, bit driver, can opener, bottle opener, wood metal file, and diamond file. Well, now that we have the all, yes, that looks exactly like Leatherman described it. I mean, this is the Alpha. So yes, that seemed exactly the same. Now, with the Leatherman Curl disappearing, it's suspiciously similar to when the Charge sort of disappears from Leatherman and then suddenly the Alpha comes out. So could this be the Epsilon? I'm not saying it is absolutely, but it does seem very similar, and people at the time said it probably is. And even at this time on Leatherman Reddit, people are saying it seems like Leatherman's new MO, they'll probably discontinue this and come out with some brand new tool, which is actually just the Curl. So the Epsilon, they say, is a folding multi-purpose hand tool comprised primarily of a blade and 1 or more of the following hand tools, namely needle nose pliers, regular pliers, wire cutters, hard wire cutters. And then we get to the inside tool set, all with an eyelet, scissors, which we have that, bit driver, yeah, we have that. And then, just like with the Alpha, I think there will be a couple new tools to basically maybe justify perhaps a price hike, but there'll be a nail file, or maybe it will move the scissor to the outside and then you'll get a nail file on the inside perhaps. Pry tool, bottle opener, ruler, toothpick, and tweezer. So the ruler will probably still be on the frame. Toothpick and tweezer looks like will be on the inside perhaps. Or it could even be sort of like Victorinox in the, maybe it'll be like G10 and they'll put it onto the handles. I don't really know, but it does seem like we're getting something maybe possibly very similar to the Curl. But yeah, maybe they're adding scissors on the outside, knife, scissors, and then some different things on the inside. Now, when it says about the file, it reminds me a lot of some of the files we're seeing on some of the tools overseas. Now, on this Byberry multi-tool that you can get off of Amazon, this has a very small file that I could definitely see Leatherman applying with their copyright to as pretty much a nail file. And that might be exactly what they're thinking of, something like that, where then you can have, again, a large pair of scissors, a knife. I don't know if they'll upgrade it to the MagnaCut. I'm guessing one of these will be more of a budget wave, but essentially they will satisfy people's need for a brand new tool, something new and exciting, which in reality, it's just a rebadged curl with a new one or two new tools. Now, it does seem like Victorinox does something very similar where they will bring out several new tools, which basically just have a very similar frame size. Maybe the color pattern will change a little bit, and then they have one or two new interior tools. So I think that's more of the business model that Leatherman is turning to. I don't know if we will see radical changes like with the Leatherman Arc from Leatherman for several years. I think their knife line, as several others have mentioned, may have really set them back. And so I'm guessing for a little while with their new CEO, he will definitely be trying to churn out basically easy to produce multi-tools at the cheapest rate possible for Leatherman. And with research and development, taking an old tool you have and making it brand new is probably the cheapest way to go. So I'm guessing that's what the Epsilon will be. Maybe it will be another tool. I think there was a Leatherman Wave Sport that was supposed to be in the works. Maybe it will be something like that. But I do think we will see the Curl come back in the future.